6 years ago, Justin Timberlake released his most divisive album when it came to the fans' interest, which was Man of the Woods. It kind of saw him put a more, not necessarily country-leaning twang onto his pop music, but since he's from Memphis, Tennessee, he kind of put a more southern-leaning tinge to it. And it was a very up-and-down record, to say the least. It was not one of my favorites that came out, and knowing that he usually takes a while to release albums, I did not necessarily know when a new one was going to come, but here we are, 6 years after the fact, with everything I thought it was. It's an 18-track album, and it's another interesting listen. There's a couple of songs on here that I'm not necessarily fond of. Fucking Up the Disco was fun enough, I guess, but it didn't catch my attention enough. I think it was trying to be another one of his, like, let's have fun party anthems, and it just didn't hit as much as the others. Technicolor, Liar, Flame, and Conditions were also ones that I didn't like, and the fact that Conditions finishes off the album, I don't know, just the analogies of Superman and Batman and Bruce Wayne, it gets a little cringy in spots, and I felt like they could have done a better job, or at least Justin could have done a better job picking an album closer. In the okay tracks, we have the kickoff track, Memphis. I guess I was just expecting more intensity from the first track, but this one was kind of just, it was alright. I didn't hate it, but I didn't think as an opener it was worthy of that. Infinity Sex is a little cheesy for the most part, but it has its moments, so I put it here in the okay. Then we have Love and War, Imagination, What Lovers Do, which I thought was going to be like his take on the Maroon 5 song, which, I mean, hey, if there's anybody who can sing those high notes, it would be Justin Timberlake, but no, it was his own song, and again, it was fine, it was cool, didn't necessarily have a full problem with it. And then there's the song that I think everybody was anticipating, and that was Paradise, the song he did with his old band Nsync, which I put it in the okay track because, again, I actually exceeded my expectations as to what I was expecting going into it. I mean, his and JC Chasez's voice still, you know, bounce off of each other very well, and the backing vocals, it definitely sounded like an Nsync song. And I like this one too because, you know, it may sound like a love ballad, but it more kind of sounds like they're reminiscing about their old days and how it still feels like Paradise today, even after all these years, getting back together with Justin this time, because Nsync has gotten back together, but without Justin. But it seems like he's kind of embracing, hey, you know, I can still do this stuff with Nsync. They just did a song for the new Trolls movie, and I actually wouldn't be surprised after Justin Timberlake was done touring for this, if maybe Nsync finally has that reunion tour that a lot of their fans have been waiting for. Then we get to the stuff I like. No Angels, Play, Drown, which was one of the big singles off of here. Even though, again, some of these might be cheesy, they're still good, and Justin Timberlake just finds a way to make them catchy and enjoyable without you going like, oh, this song is too cringy for my liking. Sanctified was one that I heard on SNL when he performed, and I was sitting there the whole time going, this sounds very Imagine Dragons-esque, but it's like the best part of Imagine Dragons, so I didn't hate the song. I was like, this is actually pretty good here. Favorite Drug, Selfish, and Alone were also ones that, you know, kind of maybe had cringy lyrics here and there, especially on Selfish, because it's just all about like, man, I just want you all to myself, baby, and this stuff, this, that, and the other. But again, in true Justin Timberlake fashion, he just finds a way to make it catchy to where you just can't help but sing along, you can't help just bob your head, you know, all that kind of stuff. There was 3 features on this album, Nsync on Paradise, as I mentioned, and they did fine. Sanctified featured Toby Wigwe. I don't know if I'm saying that right, I'm sorry if I'm not, but he was on there, and he did a pretty decent job on Sanctified as well. He fit the atmosphere. And then Liar features Fireboy DML. I don't know, his and Justin's dynamic together was just kind of boring, so it really wasn't my favorite cover on this record. But overall, I feel like Justin definitely rebounded from Man of the Woods. I wouldn't say that album was terrible, but it was his first album of his, you know, like, discography at the time where I disliked more than I actually enjoyed, and I just thought maybe his reign of popularity was coming to an end. Everybody was kind of getting tired of him. But no, the singles are doing well now that he's doing the whole Nsync thing, and he's still acting, even if it is just voice acting. He's still doing that. He's still bigger and better than ever. And with this album, I think he still showed that he can make some great R&B music, mix in a little bit of pop rock, and there's some funky ass bass lines on here too. Some almost reminiscent to, like, I don't know, maybe like a Daft Punk in the sense, which I can definitely see, like Justin Timberlake being in a Daft Punk song, even though Daft Punk is, you know, broken up, but I can see him featuring in a Daft Punk song if he didn't already, and maybe that's where some of his inspirations came from for this record. So again, not the best thing I heard, not the worst thing I heard, kind of almost in the middle, but leaning toward a 60-40, that being a 6 out of 10 rating for this record. It's a nice one and has its moments, but it also has moments where you're just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I felt like 18 tracks was a little too much, maybe cut this down to 11, and I think you get something even higher rated than that. But in the end, that's just my opinion. You can tell me in the comments below what did you think, but until then, stay safe out there, and I will catch you all in the next one.